This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Alrighty, it is Friday, and there he is. He's at the IMG Academy. How you doing, my man? You doing good?
I'm doing good. Busy morning here. A lot of 2026 recruits. Some of the best in the country are here, Big O. And I just finished talking to the number one kid in the 2026 class who tells me he will be visiting the University of Miami soon. So Mario Cristobal doing well on the trail, and they're in the hunt for Jakeem Stewart.
Jakeem Stewart. Tell us about the number one recruit, Jakeem Stewart.
6'6", 277 pounds, big boy. Got his first offer when he was in the 7th grade from Georgia. He was 6'5", 340 pounds then. He was a big boy. He's since gotten himself in shape. He's actually here to play wide receiver and tight end. They're going to have a 7-on-7 tournament here at IMG Academy as part of the Future 50. And from St. Augustine, New Orleans. So LSU, obviously, right there in his backyard. Shaquille O'Neal and a bunch of LSU grads have been on him for a long time. They know he's a special talent. But the kid told me he's open to going anywhere in the country. And Mario Cristobal is one of his favorite people. It's just a good relationship. And he will be visiting, I think, Miami for the barbecue that they have once the dead period begins, which I think is July 27th. So he'll be going down there to hang out with the boys in South Florida. And we'll see. Everybody in the country wants him. When you're the number one recruit in the country, everybody wants you. I think there's a chance he could reclassify to 2025. So if he does and somehow Miami wins out, that'd be a huge win for Mario Cristobal, that's for sure.
Okay, so he's a 6'6" receiver?
No, he's a 6'6" defensive lineman.
Oh,
6'6",
okay.
277, but he's here to play receiver. That's how athletic he is.
So
he runs yeah.
What? He's there to play receiver? So
he's here to play receiver and tight end in this 7-on-7 tournament. That's how athletic he is. He runs a 4.7 in the 40. So imagine teams have definitely talked to him about maybe moving to tight end, but he's such a disruptive force on the defensive line that he knows that's where his money is at in the future.
That was the Chicago receiver. That was a South Carolina defensive end.
Yeah, we mentioned him on one of the shows previously. Yes.
Remember that? So yeah. Then that's so this guy's like that guy. Then he's like a freak.
He's a freak. He's 100% freak and a good kid. Like I said, 6'5", 340 in the 7th grade. Big boy, and he got his life together, got his weight under control, and is just a huge machine. I think he squats 485 pounds. He told me.
Wow. So wait a minute. So because it's 7-on-7s, you don't really showcase your
you don't have linemen, right? So he's coming here to play tight end and receiver.
So he's just kind of like continue to showcase who he is and how he can even be a two-way player because so he's also open to being either or offense or defense.
Well, I think certainly in high school he can play anywhere on the field. He's that kind of a guy, but I think he knows that his future is being an elite defensive lineman down the road. So
okay. All right.
I'm
trying to remember the damn player from the Bears that was the receiver from South
Carolina.
South Carolina. He was a receiver, then they converted him to defensive end. And then because that's like the only guy I know that has done that shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's unheard of, dude, to go from receiver to defense. And now you're telling me this guy is doing that kind of stuff. That's pretty cool. All right. Who else is there?
Well, Dia Bell, Roger Bell's son.
Okay, cool. Good for him.
Who is the number 2 quarterback in the 2026 cycle. He committed to Texas a couple weeks back. Big time kid.
Alshon Jeffrey, by the way.
Alshon Jeffrey, yes. But Dia's here. There's a bunch of kids. You got the quarterback, Will Griffin, who's going to Florida, who's committed to Florida. You got Florida State's quarterback commitment here, Brady Smigel, a kid out of California. I just talked to the quarterback commit, Jaden O'Neal, from California, who's going to Oklahoma. He's a 2026 kid. There's a ton of kids here. These are all the best, skill players. You got a bunch of DBs as well because it's a 7-on-7. You don't have a lot of the linemen. The only lineman here really is Stewart. So, but I got a chance to talk to a bunch of kids and get their thoughts. It's going to be running till 2:00 today, so I'll be busy talking to kids as they come in.
Okay. How much? Any presence there?
Well, no, none of the college coaches can be here, but certainly UM guys that Miami is after are here. Derek Cooper is one of them. He's one of the best players that I've seen, probably the number one recruit in South Florida for the 2026 cycle. In my mind, he's kind of like a little Sean Taylor, can play safety, can play running back, goes to Hollywood, Chaminade. Right now, he wants to play running back. I think at the next level, it's where he prefers. Florida State, big in his heart. He really likes the Seminoles. I think that's who he's got the best relationship with to this point. But Miami is recruiting him, and a guy for us to watch here as the 2026 cycle gets going.
This is why every football fan, every Canes fan wants to have a great season. And it's great to have a great season, but they desperately need a great season because these kind of moments is where it's going to resonate. That once they see the program is a winning program, and all of a sudden, it all changes. So what's the next stage now for Mario and company on the recruiting side?
Well, look, they just picked up, I think, commitment number 14 in the 2025 cycle, which is the next signing class that they'll sign in December. Is kid Herbert Scroggins from Georgia. Last night, they picked up a 4-star cornerback. Day before that, they had a 4-star offensive tackle. This is sort of the commitment season that I told you about a few weeks ago, that guys are going to take all their visits in June, and then as we get to the end of June, beginning of July, that's when all these kids start to lock in, when they know what their NIL deal is going to be, how much money they're going to get from every single school. So they make decisions, and they say, okay, I'm going to go to Miami, I'm going to go to Florida State, wherever. And so we're in that period, but there's still the wait and see period, which is what happens during the season. It's, which coaches end up leaving, which position coaches end up leaving. So much can ultimately affect where guys sign come December. But right now, Miami is in add mode, and they're adding guys to their recruiting class, which is actually up to number 15 now in the country. They were in the 30s before this little run of commitments. One kid I think they're going to get here in the next couple days is Gavin Nix, who plays here at Bradenton IMG Academy. He's a linebacker, 4-star kid. I think Miami's done a great job. Derek Nicholson's done a great job recruiting him. Hilton Stubbs, a top 100 recruit out of the Jacksonville area who'd been committed to USC. He decommitted last night. I think it's either going to be Miami or Florida for Hilton Stubbs. I think the Hurricanes feel pretty confident the way things are trending with him. So there's going to be a lot of commitments and decisions, I think, in the days, weeks, and months ahead. And then it's a matter of who do you hold on to once the game starts, right? Who can you convince? Maybe, is it a Jakeem Stewart? Can you get the number one player in the country to jump on board? Those kind of questions will be answered, I think, in the months ahead.
That'll be fun. But one more thing. Were you laughing last night when the Lakers took Bronny James, knowing that he was an undraftable player, and they just took him for LeBron? Because I remember you said that he probably would go undrafted.
Yeah.
Last night he really went undrafted. That was just a favor pick, dude. I mean, that was sad, bro.
Well, I mean, it shows you the power of what one player can do, right? It just shows you again the power of LeBron to be able to have an NBA team basically do what they want for him. And kudos to LeBron. He did it with the Heat, right? The Heat who did they draft 1 year because he liked that player? It was a point guard. Shabazz Napier, just because he liked him. The Heat went over and drafted him, and then he ended up leaving anyway. So it's just the way things work in sports today. The players have the power. More power to them.
Yeah, crazy stuff. All right, what do you? It's going to be a lot of IMG Academy stuff there on the Athletic.
Well, certainly I'm going to do a report on the Future 50. I just came out with my National Recruiting Thoughts column today. It's on the website. People want to check it out. I wrote a lot about Ohio State. What a great job they're doing this cycle. They got the number 1 class. Alabama's number 2. Everybody thought with Nick Saban leaving, Alabama was going to fall apart, right? Nick Saban's the player personnel guy. He's going to get – well, they're number 2, and this coach who came over from Washington has done a really, really good job earning his $10 million a year to this point. So I wrote about Ole Miss, wrote about the Hurricanes, the Seminoles, the Gators. There's a whole lot in there for people to check out on my column. And there's a lot of other stuff that's been going up. The video game coming out next month, the NCAA video game. Everybody's talking about that, because, they grew up playing it. It's coming back. We've got a ton of articles on that, as well as some previews. And I'm reporting a podcast later today with Ari Wasserman breaking down the ACC X Factors. That'll be on our Until Saturday podcast. Me and Ari Wasserman will talk about all the key players, X factors in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So if you want to check all that out, it'll be at theathletic.com.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, enjoy yourself out there at IMG. Drive safely back home, my brother. We will talk next week. Have a great weekend.
You too, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. Appreciate it. Canesware, they got all your Panthers gear, man. You want your championship Panthers gear? Get on down there, caneswear.com. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off, and you can do it online. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off. And if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. Heat gear, Marlins gear, Panthers gear, Dolphins gear, and practically anything and everything with a Canes logo on it. Caneswear, Miami Fanwear, baby. And, of course, you can go visit them at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Go see Brett and all the great people out there at caneswear.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.